Hello, friends! It's time for the final part of the season. It's time to get into the NUEL Blood Bowl semi-final stages with the grand finals at 8. We are running behind time here, so we're going to have to bang it through our reviews of the semi-final stages pretty quick. But don't worry, we'll find the best bits and pick them out for you so that you can chew on them a bit. And once we get around to it, we'll jump straight across the finals themselves. So we've got about half an hour for each one. My name is Counterfeit, joined by Kirby, of course. And we'll waste very little time on talking about the games to start with because we just got to get into them and get started. So who do we have up first?
Well, it's going to be the York Mirror match. West Street War, coached by Lostra, is going to play against Dead Ends versus Tin Ear. This is our second and third seeds coming out of the playoffs. Dead Ends have been a pretty powerful team the entire season. They have maintained most of that power throughout and have performed pretty consistently well. The West Street War have spiked, however, and unfortunately some of the players have been hit in the face a little too hard and have been forced to an early retirement. I do mean permanent retirement. I mean they have died. So
I don't know why you're being so coy about it.
So we're going to go to the queue outside bar 1 for our first game of the evening. Granted, because the West Street War are technically the lower team value, they can bring in a few extra inducements, so they could have some power from there. But numerically, they are the weaker team. They don't have as many level ups on their players as they might like coming into this, so it'll be interesting to see how they leverage that. Most importantly, they have kept their star player alive. In an Orc team, it is very important to have someone who can manage the ball for you, and Soyo, a blitzer who's managed to roll plus agility and plus movement, has been exceptional all season long. He has scored countless game-winning touchdowns for the War, and it'll be interesting to see how he plays out. Going up against the Dead Ends are a pretty prototypical Orc team. Granted, they have a thrower, which is maybe a little different, but aside from that, it's just a lot of blocks, a lot of utility skills on the blitzers, and we'll see how this game plays out for them.
Alright guys, let's get things kicked off. So we'll have to check which side is going on which. So the West Street War come in as Thursday. There we go. Oh, conveniently they have landed on the other side. You know, Kirby, every time it's a coin flip for me as well as for them.
It's a coin flip, but you'll lose every time. So the War will be setting up to kick. They'll probably go for the 5-star. Yep, 5-star defense. They're setting up, leaving only probably 3 linemen. Once we get the skills, we can actually see, because presumably some of these players will have loner. Have one of their loner linemen on the front, as well as they have actually opted in for the, I believe that's a blitzer with block. Oh god, excuse me. In the star part of the 5-star.
So we've got a Black Orc with
guard. Black Orc with guard. Okay, that also makes sense. Obviously, Black Orcs want to utilize that strength force and also hold that line of scrimmage, so having guard on them makes sense, even as a journeyman. Loner isn't the best skill to have because it will burn through your rerolls, but if you're playing a brawly sort of setup and you are at the man disadvantage, having the extra guard can go a long way. Meanwhile, for the Dead Ends, it's going to be that full pile on front line, trying to break through these linemen as quickly as possible, get to the more, I don't want to say more vulnerable players because they're still Orcs, but more important players, start punching them in the face and hopefully have Gutdar, that thrower, manage the ball, get it in the cage, and 8-turn touchdown. And they'll have an extra reroll to do it with.
Hooray! So let's talk a little bit about the differences between the two teams. We've got Soyo on one side. He's secretly an elf, just painted green, and forced to reveal his true nature for the course of this season. But on the other, we immediately get to see the other side of the equation. The star player for the Orcs is going to be Gruro, who has Mighty Blow and Piling On. There isn't really a comparable player apart from, I guess, Keller on the other side, who has Mighty Blow and Tackle. But that Piling On, in a game where you've got players who've got AV9 pretty much across the board, making those injuries is going to be a tough task.
It's very hard to break through the Orcs' armor. As you said, AV9 is going to be extremely difficult to chew through, but if you have players who can get those mighty blows, and especially with that piling on to reroll your armor breaks, you can definitely take out a lot of the players on the War. And if this does go into a full-on brawl, it depends how it forms, actually, because the War do have more guards currently. They have 2 naturally and that extra player with guard. So they should be able to hold a cage if one forms. But if it comes into this sort of small skirmishing style where they can actually utilize Guru's blitz every turn, try and get these arm breaks in, I do believe it will go and hold it in a cage. And at that point, Gurdar will be more than sufficient.
So something which I'm kind of looking out for in this game is that, particularly with the Parlion players, because we haven't seen many of them in the league. It's it's one of those somewhat later development things. Is that if Guru isn't able to find a good blitz next turn, then they're we can see them only really getting use out of their skills once every other turn, as they'll be forced to stand up again and again. Looks like it will be a forced out blitz, as I do have an unexpected visitor coming to my room. Hopefully.
So the pylon does not result in an armor break, but this is the sort of thing you want to be doing with this kind of... Oh no, just getting a KO out of blue. So some small field advantage generated already. The idea is you do want to be using that blitz every turn, just rolling the armor breaks. The problem with this strategy, though, is you do need to invest the blitz onto that player every turn. He only has movement like 3, I believe, when he wakes up. So he's only able to move 3 squares. So if the War are able to position around him, get the players out of his range, so there's only going to be so much impact that player can have onto the game. But granted, as you've already seen, getting those 2 arm rolls can do a good chunk of work for the team. We're going to see the ball picked up here, probably move down to the middle of the pitch, and we'll start to see where the cage forms. I believe it will just end up in the middle of the pitch and go no further.
Ooh, red dice blocks already. Spicy.
I believe that was on one of their block players, though, and 2 red dice if you have block is only like a third risk of getting a down on yourself. It's not too bad. Right, especially as like the last move of turn. It's acceptable. Wow,
ooh,
okay.
Wow. Okay, that's a strong start. So Morcad getting taken down. That's impressive for that to be in favour of Lostra when they're the team lacking the mighty blow piling on, but a KO is as good as anything. We're not expecting this to be a high-scoring game by any means, so the chances to get back those KO players will be limited.
Yeah, but that was a dirty player as well.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. So,
Very nice.
less chance of rolling the armor breaks, which, again, is a good way of Tinir just to generate an advantage for his team, just removing players, getting them an advantage, and then it becomes a lot easier to play that sort of brawly style.
Okay, so that's going to be, yes, a little bit more expensive to the old team value than expected. So Ball currently in control of the thrower for the Dead End squad. 11 out of 16 with dodge as well. I don't think that's going to favour them particularly well in this match because, as we can see, there's a lot of block going around. So the dodge, while somewhat useful, is not going to make them proof against getting clobbered.
Yeah, the dodge is going to help in the last, 2 or 3 squares you need to get through, where you might just need to go through 1 or 2 walks just to get the touchdown in. It's not going to be particularly useful in the block situation, because you say, if your opponents have block, they can just take a both down result and it'll go fine for them anyway. But as far as the overall strategy is concerned, they've got the ball carrier in relative safely. It's not too much of a cage at this point, but they've zoned off the entirety of the West Street War, so they're going to struggle to get that chain push.
Yes.
There is a wake-up blitz available. I don't know how good it is right now. It looks like they'd probably have to take 3 red dice.
Let's see, so that's... yes, that's a little bit of a spicy situation developing there. I'm really struggling to figure out which orc is on which team at this point.
I go by circles. I'm disappointed, honestly.
Okay, so we've got Azag Smashnoz, who's actually one of the better Black Hawks, currently cut off a little bit from the rest of the team, as the Dead Ends try and lap themselves back around to this side and try and get away. We know that Soyo, for Lostra, is one of the more mobile players in this game.
He's a bit out of the way, though. The problem is the Dead Ends want to take a full-on cage versus attempt to break a cage fight, because they are down guard, and not having the guard means it's very easy if you just get out strength, take a bunch of bad dice, and get punched in the face a bunch. So they want to try and maneuver the cage around, offer Noir as few blocks as possible, and try and find a hole in the defense that they can get the ball through. Unfortunately for them, they've not been able to poke a way through yet, so the War, well, they can't necessarily go for the ball carrier straight away, or at least able to maneuver around a bunch and hold this, not cage, but attempted line poking at bay.
We know for the West Street War, their advantage is that they do have multiple guards on the squad, currently now over really on the right-hand side. So this scrum situation is going to end up getting it a little bit more favoured than it would be otherwise.
Yeah, and the problem is if that ends up with the ball carrier in that scrum, the War are going to run away with it.
Yes, for now, at least, Gutdal remains safe. But yeah, right, the Dead Ends aren't making much progress up the pitch. They've not, they're down a player now after getting one of theirs knocked out. Their Mighty Blow piling on hasn't managed to do anything apart from get a stun. I don't actually know what Tana's going for in terms of what their longer term game plan is, apart from just continue to punch as we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think because it's a function of the matchup, right? You're both fairly brawly teams. If you're the Dead Ends, you are slightly worse in this sort of scrum formation, but you're still extremely good. You're still playing orcs. You still have some good block, some good strength for you can throw hands. And I think that's just going to have to be what he defaults to until he can find some space. And granted, he's made some decent progress off this left side of the pitch, so he might swing the ball carrier around and try and keep him out of range of Soyo, but keep him in a situation where he can just play the left side of the pitch and sneak the ball down that side to get the touchdown. Because you see how many members of the War right now are tied up on this right-hand side in this massive formation. It's going to be really difficult for them to swing across safely.
Oh boy, there's been some really horrible dice in this game so far, from both sides, so I guess it kind of evens out, but yeah, the War definitely have got control of the right-hand side. All that guard we mentioned before is coming to bear and letting them make advantageous blocks. And it looks like no efforts are going to be made towards securing the ball, instead focusing on taking it over the right-hand side entirely.
They need to free up players, because orcs are notorious for their low agility. You need to knock players down so you don't have to take dodge rolls to get the players across and dealing with this flank. So it's some good attempted playmaking by Dead Ends, but unfortunately, because the blocks go the way of the War, it's sort of fallen apart, and now the ball carrier slightly exposed due to that front man being knocked over.
So, okay. So, we've got a movement 6 blitzer here. We've got a movement 5 thrower.
He's just going for it.
Wow, okay, so this has got to be a blitz onto Soyo.
Yes, get Soyo away. This just needs to be a push. It doesn't need to be a knockdown. I would step forward there. Yeah, he's going to step forward after the fact.
This does mean that Soyo's going to have a good chance to knock away the only person protecting the ball carrier, though, before allowing one of their other friends to come in and make the block. I mean, this is... at this point...
This is the correct decision, but it's risky. Yeah. Because how else are you scoring a touchdown? But at the same time, you're only risking a blitzer. Or your thrower, even, because they need to focus the thrower. And it will be the War's reception next time, so you don't necessarily need the agility player coming into that second half. It's better to have them than not, obviously. But if you're sacking a player, the agility player is definitely the one you sack. So they're going to try and... They'll expose them a little bit to try and score the touchdown, but I'm not too worried about losing them in this situation. You need the touchdown more than you need to stay alive here.
Let's see. So, there's no... Well, so Soyo we know can dodge away because he's got just...
They don't even need Soyo. They can just blitz across here.
Okay. One die block isn't amazing, though, so...
He has block. It's not terrible, but yeah, you don't... Again, you don't need the advantageous results like knockdowns. You just need to keep the ball carrier off that end zone, hold him in place, make sure you're not offering amazing blocks back. But if you just hold the ball carrier here, there's only, 2 turns left in his score? It's going to be extremely difficult for him to do so at this point because he needs to make some very risky blocks or some very risky dodges, and potentially even both.
Alright, so the clobbering continues. The orc armor for now remains more or less intact. There's still minimal numbers over here, though. I can definitely see... Okay, it's going to be a 1 dice block, which doesn't go well, but a second reroll does. So this is probably going to keep Gruro, the killer, in place.
Westray War out of rerolls, though. This could be bad for them. They're notably not got that many levels, so they're lacking the block, which makes blocking insanely safe. So they might struggle, and if a double skull comes down for them on their turn, they will die for it. Fortunately, the Dead Ends do burn their last reroll now, so their ball carrier... Oh, actually, now they don't have a reroll to protect the ball carrier.
Yeah, I mean, that's really stinking unlucky. And now we're at the point in the game where Tina is going to be going for 1 dice blocks, dodges away with their regular agility, piling on player will
But
be
you
able
see
to
it
get...
push. You have the chain pushes. You can knock all the players away and flip the ball carrier.
Yeah, that is real nice. Okay, so suddenly it's gone from looking like a dead certainty that Lostra would get hold of the ball to now being a lot...
Why are you hesitating? Run further down the field. You're still in range of Soyo.
I think maybe that's why, though. Maybe the reason is that if they go further out, that Soyo can come and grab them, but now they've got to deal with the assist, because the rest of the Orcs are pretty slow.
Is he in scoring range? If he's in scoring range, I don't hate it, but... okay.
He is with one going for it.
Well, they're going to get on top of the ball carrier at least with this blitz. They're not going to actually sack him, though. They're going to make him make some dodge rolls. They don't have another player they can bring down to get more dodge presence and the ball carrier, though. So I think it's just going to be a wake-up blitz. Oh, why not bring that player across? Okay. This is looking really bad for dead ends. They might have just been zoned out of this touchdown. It will come down to making those 2 or 3 dodge rolls. They're going to need to escape depending on how they go for operation here. They can do a blitz on that bottom player.
That's pretty good. That's going to make this dodge. I mean, this is a Orc with dodge.
They just need to make... Yeah!
One going for it. And he makes it. Nice.
This is the problem. Yeah, but that's the problem with not having advanced players, because you didn't have any guard in that situation. So the player that you knock down can just wake up and nullify the extra manpower you sent down to try and protect the ball. But unfortunately, because he woke up, it then just was a 1 dice block and a dodge into empty field, which is pretty safe to make. I believe both players woke up there, didn't they?
Yes, so let's update. So we now know that the guard player was brought in, so in fact I think we need to change around team value a little bit for...
I believe that's right, but I could be wrong.
Oh, what did you change?
I put in their extra player.
Oh, which extra player?
Oh, never mind. He was already in.
Alright, so there we go. So back up to 1250 for the West Street War and 1290 for our second seed, the Dead End squad. So all casualties have been recovered, all sins have been forgiven.
And Soyo is about to hold the ball, and that is a really good position for him to grab it into. Oh, but this is just a punching turn, never mind.
Yes, well...
so I thought we were going to the second half.
If we do get into that same situation again, Soyo... Well, so I guess if we look a little bit further forward as well, because yes, if Soyo gets hold of the ball, that's going to be very, very good for scoring purposes, but we are in playoffs, so there's a decent to very good chance that the way this match goes is we end up with 1 touchdown apiece before we go into overtime.
Yes. We're just setting up for maximum blocks here on the side of the wall. Unfortunately, they've managed to knock over all players. Now, do you go for the foul here? That's the question. You have linemen that you don't care about, so I think we are going to see the foul here.
I mean, it's on a dirty player, but...
No.
Okay, so no harm, no foul there either.
No, there was a foul, I can assure you.
I didn't see nothing. And also, have you seen my new Snotling pump wagon? It's quite shiny. Alright, so now to the second half for real. We got bamboozled before, but now it's time for Lostra to either make a score on this half or be thrown bodily out of the playoffs. You said, Kirby, you pointed out before, we've got Soyo, who's an amazing Orc Blitzer with plus movement, plus agility. They seem like, they're very well set up to make the score. Do you think it's going to happen?
Oh, absolutely. You saw how hard it was for the Dens to get that one in. Do that setup again, but this time instead of Gutdar holding the ball, it's plus agility plus movement Soyo. He scores that easily. If a similar situation breaks out for the War, they will just run this ball in no contest. And hey, it's another high kick, so guess who's getting the ball? He's a bit further back this time, but he should manage to get a hold of this, not immediately on his next turn. Oh, okay, unfortunate drop, but...
Yes, it was a 2. But hey, it's not too shabby. As you said, there's still plenty of time to score. I guess the next question that comes up, as we do have the blitz coming in, is whether or not we'll be seeing Lostra or Tinir trying to go for a second score before we get into extra time.
If the ball was closer, I could see Lostra going for it, but because it's so far back, it's going to take him like 2 turns just to get the ball to the line of scrimmage, yet alone in scoring range. So, due to the kick, I think we are going to see an 8-turn touchdown, and both teams are going to play for overtime. To be fair, Tierney can just play to stop the War from scoring, but he's not going to be too concerned if they do, because again, overtime will be a thing. He's not going to lose the game for it.
Alright, so let's look at what's going on overall. As you said, the ball going to be picked up, and so it will be an extra time before it meets the rest of the line. Fortunately, the Dead Ends Orc team is a little too slow to, say, start chasing the ball or anything like that. I wonder what they're going to do here, because they could, they could start moving forward to try and engage. It looks like they're just going to maybe try and pick up individual players. In this case, a lone lineman be the one blitzed. Doesn't get that armor broken. No, it does get the armor broken. It's going to be a stun. And a piling on as well.
Yeah, you desperately wants to get some send-offs here, just to have a man advantage coming into this half, because even as good as Soyo is, if his line's disintegrated, he's not going to have any chance of getting through to actually score that touchdown.
Alright, so the Mighty Blow players continue their work, which is to blitz every single turn. And we do look like we're set up for a fairly similar situation to last time round, though Groro, the Mighty Blow piling on blitzer from the Dead Ends, is now surrounded by multiple unfriendly orcs, so whether they'll be getting him next turn is subject to debate.
They might wake up. I don't think he's going to get the blitz. Oh, okay. I like it, but I wasn't expecting it. Because again, that is the best player on the side of the Dead Ends. You remove him, you do remove a lot of that armor-breaking potential that they have. And from there, you can have this sort of stalemate brawl fest, which Shoyo can then use to his advantage, find the gap, score the touchdown. So we'll see what the Dead Ends do in response here. They might just have to be forced into playing defense, because again, they are technically weaker in an all-out brawl just because they don't have as much access to guard. But they are still very potent. No, it's going to still be the wake-up blitz. Only one die, and it does result in an attacker down, punch in the face. Doesn't burn the reroll for it, but to be fair, he doesn't need to. He's already used most of his units he can afford to turn over. It just wants to keep Goro down so he can't get blocked, and that's the best way the War have getting an arm break on him. They need to go for another foul at best if they really want him dead.
Okay, so we've got the lines of Orc units smacking back and forwards. It looks to me that there's some attempt from Lostra to make their way up the right-hand side. It's going to be a pretty tough proposition, but as we've seen from the previous time, going through the center of an Orc team is pretty much a hiding to nothing.
No, there's way too many bodies there. Like, as amazing of a player as Soyo is, he would struggle to get through there. So they're going to try and poke at the edges, see if they can find some space on this right flank. If they don't, it's fair enough. Soyo has the move allowance to bring themselves back across the left. See actually how far they can bait Tinu into going to this right side, actually. That might be the play, just not fully commit to this right side and see how much Tinu invests.
Alright, so knockdown on one of the linemen. I don't think there's actually going to be very many blocks here from the Dead End side of things, the red orcs, I guess. Or the orcs in red. And we'll have another blitz. It's a one-die block. This time it is successful, and it's another piling on. This is a lot of blitzes being spent on a line orc, and only just managing to get the stun.
Yeah, I don't know about the target. It might be that's the best block he has access to, but targeting a lone lineman definitely doesn't seem like target priority. You want to be targeting, ideally, someone that the War care about. Maybe if it's just a regular lineman without loner. But as far as pecking order goes, the loner linemen are bottom of the list for the West Street War.
Yes, it's almost like Tinny is just kind of playing for time here. But we can see that as Lostra moves around, with a movement 7 player, you've got the opportunity to make a pretty significant move around the pitch.
And you can see, like, how many players are on that side of the pitch now. There's one, and he's only, like, 2 squares from the middle of the pitch. There's a great big gap opened up on this left side because of the small bait that Lostra has managed to pull off. If he can just hold enough of the Dead Ends in place in this turn, they might just be able to sneak down this left side and get a touchdown.
Alright, so guard players, of course, are going to be the priority in this kind of scrum. Hey L1, so we're doing coverage for the finals. We're not actually playing in the finals, though that would be fun if we were.
I'm not good enough.
Hey man, you just gotta believe in yourself hard enough, and also roll some good dice.
Oh, I can do that.
So
I play the most aggressive dwarf in the humanity. I will take every block, I will take every dodge. And speaking of taking every... Okay, I genuinely thought he was going to go for the ball carrier there.
Oh no, not with a move it forward. Oh, hello. 5 hit rocks. That's a... Well, I mean...
Mystics game as well. He's dead for the season, effectively.
Oh, yeah.
Because even if the Wild win, there's only one game after this, and he's missing it.
Okay, so this is pretty bad news as a 1-die block also goes south but doesn't turn it into an injury. The dead ends actually managing to take the player number advantage. Maybe this long-term brawl isn't what Losra can afford to take anymore.
Mm-hmm. I still think he wins out, but he's at the man advantage. He needs to do something sooner rather than later at this point. He's got 4 turns to play with. Ball is still in midfield. The problem is, with that 5 hit rocks, because his position was anchoring for that left side, so he could protect Soyo as he swung across to the left side. If he's gone, suddenly it's very easy for the dead ends to just pile across that left side. So now, what I realise is bring Soyo back across to the right, and he's probably going to have to try and brute force his way through here, because he's running out of turns and running out of space.
So that's the mighty blow piling on Orc. Put down on the ground. Fully expect to see them. If Titnir's style remains consistent, to be blitzing with that blitzer, and I think that's the setup for that going on right now. So we are getting pretty close to the end of the game. For Losra, they've only got 3 more turns to get that touchdown, and then much as the dead ends were struggling to make progress, we're kind of seeing the same thing. A push up the left didn't get anywhere. A push up the right. If this doesn't get anywhere either, then the dead ends actually might stop the score.
I will say, it's a lot easier for the WAR to pull off the touchdowns that they need to here, because again, Soyo plus agility plus movement, we've gone on about it for the entire season at this point, but it's because it's so powerful at just scoring these clutch touchdowns in situations like this. So they have a decent presence on this right flank, actually. They've managed to hold off a decent funnel where they could get Soyo down that side, especially with the good blocks and some good positioning from their extra players. They might have enough space. They definitely have the movement allowance to do it on Soyo. The question of can they execute? And with that POW, good chain push, hold off that... Yeah, because they managed to bring a player on this flank. They've managed to basically form a cage down this right side, so they can just put Soyo in the middle of it. He's safe.
Yeah, that's exceptional news for the West Street War. And now the dead ends, they've got to somehow try and get their players in front of this cage. And when they've got to deal with Soyo, who's agility 4, yeah, all one's got it right. Agility 4 Hawk. Just, there's so many more possibilities here. I think we are headed for that overtime here in the semi-finals. We will, of course, be having another semi-final. I think we should be able to fit it in, since we're pretty close to the end of this one, so...
We're going to just immediately hop into across games, I imagine.
I think we might have to. Normally we'd take a little break. I might need to take a sort of minute or so break just to make sure I've got enough water.
That's reasonable. Alright, so the defensive play here coming out from Titnir, trying to at least poke at the corner, get a man on top of the ball carrier. Doesn't step forward, though. I think not stepping forward was the correct play, because it means they have to force the blitz to remove a player if they want to go for that route.
Okay, I'm not sure I like this. Oh, there we go. That's suddenly better, because I don't like the idea of just having to knock away a lineman who doesn't have block to make the score.
That's true.
Okay, so if we... Yes. I mean, it's looking very, very good for the West Street War, apart from how difficult this run-up side is. So if we've got a blitz to send one away, that's... So if you blitz from here, you're only pushing someone back in the way unless you get a knockdown.
But they can swing around the outside is what I'm thinking. Maybe not with that positioning of that extra lineman.
Oh, wait. Okay, they're not going that way. It turns out that's the answer.
Yeah, they're just going to go on the outside, I think.
He's got to swing round because
but he has the moon allowance. Because guess what? He's Soyo. He does not care. You might not score a touchdown this turn, but he's in plenty of space here, and I don't think anyone's in range of him, because guess what? The Orcs don't have movement allowance.
Oh boy, so let's see, the Orcs in red. So Ugath, one of the ones who could have maybe made it all the way up there, now definitely can't. The Blitzers are the only ones with the highest movement speed on the team, so they're the only ones really worth considering, and I think you're right, that that's too far away. That's a good breakaway.
Amazing awareness by Lossera. He had an amazing chain push to set that initial cage up, and then went in and just tried to flood him out by going directly in front. He had the wherewithal to just realise that there's far too much space behind and to the left, that he just swung the ball carrier across. And that is not a thing that he can do, and Lossera is at least guaranteed he's going to take this game into overtime.
Alright, so very nicely done. I thought maybe the dead ends were going to be able to salvage that one, but yeah, very good use of the players. I mean, we're seeing this a lot of the time. Even when you've got movement 6 players like Saurus and things, they just don't get to move around in that kind of way. So you don't get to see what you can potentially do with a player that mobile. But
he's running it. He just seems to run in. There's no don't take any risks. Yep. And now we'll have a turn of punching and then overtime.
Alright, well, it's what we came for in an Orc versus Orc match. Coming up after this one, we've got Undead versus Skaven, featuring the Undead team who barely made it into playoffs, had to actually play an extra match just to see if they got in at 8th, but managed to beat the number 1 seeded team in the very first match, up against our incredibly biased favourites, the Jorvik Jets Skaven team, who lost a whole ton of games to start with, but are now looking very good for themselves as the setup for the final turn comes in. And no big surprises here from the West Street War. They are playing it safe with those expensive, skilled up players.
Yep, just keep as many players as you can physically out of range of the dead ends. Excuse me. Dead ends are just going to look to try and get some knockouts, try and get some injuries, set themselves up for this overtime, and then it's going to come down to the coin flip once again.
Alright, yes, it's dramatically easier to score if you're the team who's going to be given the ball, as the kick is pretty interesting. But
the kick is interesting, and if it was a Skaven team, perhaps we could see a touchdown, but unfortunately this is an Orc mirror match, so there's only one thing they can do.
So, worth noting here for the dead ends is that currently where they are is pretty good. Because if we go to a penalty shootout, if there is no score in extra time, they've got 3 rerolls to Lossera's 1. And the penalty shootout is just a dice roll plus your current rerolls.
But they have to play an extra half, in which they are very likely to use some, if not all, of those rerolls. They are definitely good coming into this, though, with those extra rerolls going on. But it's not necessarily guaranteed that they'll hold them on to the penalty shootout.
Oh, if that's a...
Woo!
Okay,
if ever there was a time!
That is not a good move.
Oh,
Groru's... Wait, who's
Wait,
Groru?
no! Groru's the Mighty Blood Piling On player! Oh, my lord!
Yeah, they just got...
Oh!
The dead ends just fouled with their most expensive player, and while they killed someone, they also got sent off themselves. That was not a good idea.
I think that was a journeyman. That was a journeyman for the while, wasn't it? Because he had a generic name.
Yeah, that.
You traded a journeyman for your star player.
That is pretty.
They're kicking. Oh no! It's gone so horribly wrong with the dead ends off that play.
Did they think... So this is a player who's got Dirty Player. They have a Morkrad.
Morkrad?
They have a fouling player on the team. Maybe just got confused because that is a disaster of the decision.
Can we just check the West Street War dugout real quick? The West Street War dugout real quick. Yeah, a journeyman lineman has died for your star player. Firepit Rocks is, I mean, very much dead as well. He's missed next game where there's 1 game left to play. But... oh my lords. Okay, we'll see what the War can do with this. They've gained some power on the pitch now, thanks to that unfortunate foul. They are receiving. They have Soyo. The player that is most risk to Soyo is gone. They can do this. The West Street War can absolutely do this.
Okay, so let's just make sure that my player counts are correct here. Let's see, so we've got the full 11 on the pitch. Let's see, 5, yes. 5 plus 6, that's 11. Hey, Lostra. Welcome to the stream. So, no spoilers, please, Lostra. We are reviewing a game which has happened, but the results of which are unknown to Old One who's watching. So, please, keep your comments cryptic.
So, the perfect defense on that setup does mean that ends are able to go from the 5-star defense into this sort of big frontline setup, because the Wild do not want to invest in this front line. They want to keep themselves mobile. They don't want to take a straight punching, as they are at a man disadvantage, I believe. Yes, they are a man down, thanks. They did get the kill, right? Even if they did lose their star player for it.
4, 5,
So,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yes. 10-0 against 11.
So they don't want to take a straight punching match. They want to play quick and aggressive. They only need to score 1 touchdown. They can give up their entire team to do so, but if they score the touchdown, it will immediately guarantee their position in the grand finals. So they're going to try and play fast and aggressive, knock some hole in this defense of the dead ends, and just run the ball through, and just hope that Soho's high agility is enough to get them there.
I do apologise for the extremely enthusiastic sounding goblins who have just outside my room. They've been on the squig juice again. Those devils. All right. So yeah. So this is this is a situation that you're in as a coach. This is what you train for. This is what you do your reps for. Is you say, okay, this is a Blood Bowl puzzle. I'm in a situation where I've made an awful mistake. I've lost my best player. I'm against an opposing team with a ball carrier that probably can't ever really be stopped. I'm screaming like a banshee inside my head, and that's being reflected in the Squig Herders, who've honestly they're excited about this game too.
I don't blame them. This is pretty exciting. Oh, how are we going to do this? There's been a full line of scrimmage set up here by Tinner, so the effect of the guard has been mitigated somewhat. But with this blitz, I believe that's going to be onto that thrower, knock him away. You've now set up a funnel on this right side. Even if it's a dodge, you just have a player there to anchor. You can bring Soyo across and this extra lineman. This might actually work out. They don't send him up this turn. They put him into a safe position here where he's able to burst down the line next turn. How much can Tinner stop this? They need to bring some players across, but a lot of them are in man-to-man coverage, so making dodge rolls is not going to be in their favour. And if they're using blocks, that means they're stationary, so they're not going to contest this right flank. It's going to be very risky for them to get across here, but they might just be able to do it.
Well, the big problem for them is that, well, apart from some really terrible dice rolls, is... Oh, hello, we've got a chain push going on, and we've also got an armor break. This could change quite a lot. So that's a blitzer who's now got access to Soyo.
He's not got access to Soyo directly, though. He's in pretty decent coverage. With this blitz, they're able to knock away a few of the guarding pieces, so they might just be able to stop Soyo going down to the line if they're not able to get access to him. And fair enough, if you can't get hold of Soyo, if you're able to restrict the amount of space he can work with, that's as good as stopping him as well.
Okay, so this...
So you see how completely devolved this right side, has become over the last turn. This queen completely shut down. There's no space to work with, and unless there's some really good blocks here from the War, I don't see it reopening.
Well, in terms of the block, the Westry War have burned down to their final. They burned their final rerolls, so they're going to need to make some pretty significant moves up here. We've got just a push away on to the blitzer.
Oh, wait, no, that's a chain push. Wait, he didn't move down the pitch with that blitz. Oh, but he's chain pushing to try and get the dead ends away from this right flank, so they're not able to take the blocks that would affect the pitch. He's tied up a lot of the members of the dead ends just in that sort of clump on that line there, where they're not able to move around that freely. They're forced into using blocks, remaining stationary while doing so. And that means they're not going to be able to stop Soyo from running down this right flank. It's actually a genius play coming out here from Losra.
Okay, so the Black Orcs for the Dead Ends continue to hold the center. You can see The Blitz is kind of scrambling for the dead ends to try and get back into a relevant position for the West Street Wild. Their Black Orcs holding the center pretty well. All of their blitzes over where it's most important, as the hit will come in to try and seal off this flank. There will be a second blitz that will get a second knockdown, and also not moving up next to the ball carrier. Conservative play from the dead ends.
Okay, so the right flank is now completely dissolved here for the war. They need to bring the ball across, and granted by the amount they've invested, and this is the movement 7 coming back in, because now you've invested all of your players onto this right flank. Guess where Soyo's going? And he has plenty of time to work with as well. He's got 4 turns remaining on himself, as well as the remainder of this 5th turn for half of the war at this point. They can just punch out this middle a decent amount. They don't need to do amazingly. They just need to knock out as much of the centerpiece as possible. They'll be able to poke away at some of these corners. They just need to get field position right now. As soon as they establish that, they can bring the ball across. And by the number of dead ends that have been tied up, and that's an excellent block there for the war. Just holding the players upright. They don't need to get any knockdowns. They don't need to get any insane knockdowns. They just need the field position. And dead ends are trying to contest them for that as much as possible. And fortunately, due to the fact they might have overcommitted on this right side, they might have just gained enough there. So, see how the further blocks go. The thing I'm concerned about is they have burned their blitz on trying to get a man in the backfield. And they don't have that many players that can bring around the back to really utilize the fact that they have this man advantage on the right side. So see how we do here.
Sorry about that. Just
it's cool.
Feeding the goblins. You know how it is.
Yeah.
All right. So what do I miss? I don't see any touchdowns being scored. I don't.
No,
I did. Anyone murdered?
Nope. But it's just the war playing for field position and the dead ends trying to match them. And unfortunately for the West Street War, the both down no block means they probably have just lost the field positioning. That is a disastrous both down for them because it's given up a full turn for them. Now the middle has been completely opened, and guess who's stuck there waiting in the middle unmarked? It's Soyo, and he has the ball, and now he's getting blitzed.
Oh, wow. That is crazy. That's not a good block, but that is a good block. That's coming in knockdown. That's incredible that the dead ends managed to break through the Orc line like that. I mean, Soyo can just go pick the ball up again, but...
Who's going to get the opportunity to? It's one dodge, but it's Soyo, his agility 4, he can do it. The question is, can the Wild salvage the field position they've given up here? Because off the back of that both down result, the middle of the pitch has now been flooded by dead ends members. With a wake-up blitz, they'll be able to get a knockdown to try and at least get Soyo some space. He's going to get the ball and then throw it immediately into a cage. So he should be safe for at least the immediate future, but it's still not advancing the ball. Actually, with that KO onto Mokrad.
That's some big news.
They burned the apothecary on it. They need to keep that player on the pitch.
Oh man. So this isn't even the end of the tournament necessarily, but I mean certainly for the West Street Wild, they've suffered from many injuries here. I mean, with the apothecary burn, there's still a possibility that whichever team wins out in this exchange could end up taking, well, for the dead ends in particular, if they win, they then take a casualty that makes them unable to compete. Then that's going to be pretty major.
The War have 2 turns left. The ball is still on their own side of the pitch. They've lost another player. I don't know that the War have enough time to score. We might be going in for the penalties. I'm going to be honest with you.
All right, so that is I think that was actually a KO and apothecary, which didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. But oh no, actually no, we're gonna be. So maybe Old One can clarify because I'm doubting myself a little bit here. As another KO comes through, that we should be going straight into penalty shootout once this half is done, or does it go to a second half or one? I haven't seen enough playoffs to remember for sure.
Based on information that is on my screen and not on the other players' screens, I am going to assume it is going straight into a penalty shootout. No, okay, to be fair, so he does have the movement allowance, he can just bolt it straight up the pitch. If I'm him, you have two options. Either play for the touchdown by running as far up the pitch as you physically can in one turn. The second thing you can do is go, okay, I'm probably not going to score. I've got the ball carrier and he's moved at 7. I'm going to run away as far as I can, keep this game at a draw, and it looks like he's going up the pitch, but he's
handing off to a Blackhawk.
Oh, okay. I love the attempt. It was an excellent idea to just try and score a miracle touchdown. Unfortunately, it's still Orcs, and most of them don't have the agility that Soyo has. And unfortunately, I think this is now going into a draw and going into penalty shootouts.
Let's see. Would it have been possible? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well.
One. What's the procedure in the tabletop? Since it looks like we are about to go to doing a dice roll for the first finalists today.
Yeah, they're pulling Soyo back. They know they're going for a just punching people in the face play. Fair enough.
Donk.
All right, so this is the Noir's last turn. They will leave the ball in the middle of the pitch. They'll pass it over. They know they can do no more. They've guaranteed that Dead Ends cannot score. Oh, this is going to be insanely tense. Dead Ends do have a reroll. Important to note that does mean they are favoured in this penalty shootout.
Okay, so Odd One's saying you get 2 halves in a penalty shootout. I had the vague inkling that there might be a second half here. I guess we'll see. I have a feeling that maybe this half just carries on. I mean, we'll find out in one turn in one way or the other. Either it's going to go straight to penalty
Judging
shootout.
by the fact that the Velociraptor is playing so defensively here.
Okay,
yeah,
there we go.
There it is.
Alright, so advantage is to the Dead Ends, because they have got the 1 reroll left over. Not the 3 they started the half with, but something. Let's go. There's a special animation you get to see for this, which is pretty great.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Alright, here we go. For a place in the finals, it all comes down to effectively flipping a slightly weighted coin in favour.
Okay.
That's the score for the West Street War. I believe this carries on until someone doesn't score. Team reroll. And it's good. Okay. Like, this is a little bit of a waste of time because the game obviously knows who won at this point.
But we don't. It's dramatic.
It's drama.
We're going to watch the same kicking animation because it's the same race. We have to watch the same kicking animation maybe a dozen times until someone misses.
Okay, yep, we're still going. Now this is quality entertainment. Okay. I don't know if the reroll only applied to that first roll, or what exactly is happening here mechanically. Maybe Owen's got a better idea than we do, because it certainly doesn't give you any clues on the screen, because it's not showing the reroll on the screen anymore.
Well, it's currently 3-3 in the kickoff.
Alright, well, I just assumed these players can't be rolling the same dice as each other each time. That would just be ludicrous. So I presume it must be that
I think it's just over-dramatization of a result. Well... Oh, it's wide! Wait, does that mean the wall win?
Yep.
Wait.
There we go. That's how you get to the finals. If you roll a dice. So, I don't know if there was one dice being rolled there, or if there were a bunch of dice being rolled there. Because...
You can see at the bottom of your screen, West Street was 6+0, Dead Ends 3+1.
Oh, it was just 1 dice, but they made us wait through like 7 goals.
Yep.
Brilliant. Alright, there we go.
Do we get an end screen now? What game? Hello?
No, I guess not. Alright, let's get out of here. So there we go. The West Street War will be the Orc team making it through to the grand finals. Alright, well, I mean, they did take a death along the way.
They took a death, and they also took a missed next game, which is essentially a death. So, Dead Ends lose, but they do take their pound of flesh with them going out. And, I mean, to be fair, that game was an absolute toss-up as to who won it. Even the coin toss couldn't decide it, because the War just couldn't find a way through at the end. You saw, like, they just had to play defensive at the end once the miracle play just faltered. So they were forced to just play for the kickoff, and fair play to them, it worked in their favour, but it was very janky.
Alright guys, we'll take a very, very short break before we get into our second semi-finals, which we'll probably have to bang through a lot faster than we would otherwise, because of the upcoming finals in 20 minutes' time. So we'll be back in about a minute and a half's time for our second semi-finals. We'll see you guys there.
Bye.
Kills me not to know. Lost beyond the edge, planning what to say. It kills me not to know, but yet I carry on, letting go of safety.
Hello, friends. I believe that my co-caster has had to run away for a second. So we're just going to go straight into our second game. What we'll do is we'll skip ahead a bit to try and find we'll do this more as a highlight than we will as a regular game, because obviously we are out of time. So this is 8th seed Mystery Inc. up against, let's see, 1370 versus 1270. And this is 4th seed. Alright, let me bring the music down as well, because I realise that's much too loud.
That was the quickest minute of my life. Hello.
It's alright, we're into the second game, so we've basically just got no time at all.
That is reasonable.
What we'll probably end up doing is running through and just let's just go through, and we won't worry about getting team values or anything. We'll just go through and see if we can find the main points, because we're going to be stopping at 5-2 to allow us to reset up for the finals and to put out a new set of notifications for those. So let's just skip ahead and see what's the the highlights are here.
So we have Mystery Inc. versus the Jorvik Jets. Mystery Inc. have been a very punchy undead team. They managed to beat out the top seed of OIBBL represent by managing to kill Ancient Grandma. And Gunner Plague Master is KO'd. Okay.
Well, that's a good start. So the Conadura's Skaven team has been able to, of course, as all Skavens do, make great mileage out of their gutter runners. So losing one of them early on, their block dodge gutter runner, is not great.
Yep. So all you have to do here is use this front line and just... I don't know how you play this now if you're down that sort of player, because there's some very powerful mummies that you have to contend with on this pitch with access to guard, and break tackle, which makes them very scary to play into if you are the Skaven team. But what you can do is just play Skaven, run your players all the way down the pitch, and just bomb for a touchdown before the undead team can get to you, because they do not have the movement allowance. Unfortunately, that kind of result does not favour your blocks.
No, blockless players should never be relied upon. Yes, All-One, there is it's not just an AG4 ghoul, it's a block dodge sure hands AG4 ghoul, along with these two mighty mummies for Mystery Inc. They came in as 8th seed, beat out number 1, now charging forwards. This is going to be pretty bad, I think, for the team as... Uh-oh. There we go,
well,
one turn in.
MNG as well, okay. Which was that Warpclaw second?
Don't worry about it too much.
The injured player.
It was, no, yes, Warpclaw second.
Okay.
So, we're going to say, we're going to skip through this one. So, it looks like, essentially, the... Wait, what happened there? There was a turnover? I don't know.
Oh, I think it was a fumble into a fortunate pickup by the other player.
Oh, okay.
3 dice block, but it's a mum. Oh, but it's not a block, so he has to re-roll that. Gets the knockdown on the ball carrier though, and will drop the ball, and one of his ghouls can just immediately come in and scoop that one up.
So this all comes from that failed block on the first time, which meant that the ball didn't get picked up. And now, oh man. Okay.
And hey, do you want to know who does a pretty good Skaven impersonation? These ghouls.
Yeah.
They can just run the ball wherever they want to, and more importantly, the front line for them is that much better because you have access to wights and mummies who will slap the ever-living hell out of you.
Turn 3, there's 3 Skaven off the pitch already. And I think there might be about to be more. Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see the trajectory this game is going pretty darn quick. Alright, so I expect there's going to be a bunch more punching. Let's skip through there and find out.
Yeah,
okay.
They just brought the ball all the way across the left side of the pitch. I can certainly imagine how that turn went.
5 players out for the Jets.
We're sort of speedrunning this game, and I would want to watch this one back at full time. Unfortunately, we don't have the time for that. It's not going particularly well for them because their players are getting slapped to pieces, and this was their receiving drive. They managed to get a ball on top of the player on top of the ball carrier, excuse me, but fortunately White's in blitzing range. He has block, he can take this, and that's going to be touchdown Mystery Inc.
Yeah, not too much more to say. The Skaven have been annihilated. Oh, one, yeah, it looks like it is a done deal already. I mean, you've got the possibility of KO rolls coming back. You have got a wizard for Conadura. I wouldn't be super upset about the idea of actually trying to just wizard Scooby-Doo. But I think maybe the chance to go for a block was worth it.
They can state turn touchdown here. They don't need to. They already have the man advantage. They can just 2-1 every single Skaven into oblivion at this point.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, he's in blitz range, sure. He's not going to get a chance to. If he gets a chance, it's not going to be a particularly good one because he has to take a bad block. And if he fails a block, he's almost certainly pushing into touchdown.
I mean, I don't know if that's a bad thing, though. Because this is a Dauntless Gutter Runner, so he's going to be able to get a 1 dice block with Wrestle on the ball carrier. And if he pushes him into touchdown range, that just means that the Jets get faster access to their own score.
That's true, and they also get to re-roll. But the problem is this was their reception. Wake up, Doc makes the dodge roll, gets the block.
Dauntless? Oh. Okay, this is going to be a bit awkward.
We'll see where
There's the ball going. Whee! To the other Gutter Runner! Yes! That's what we like.
This is a shenanigans game now. What is going on?
Yeah, O1 was of the opinion to go to force the scorers. Okay, have we got a reroll still going? I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's trying to get out of range of the mummy, and with that, he's losing another player. What was? Oh, he's trying to hit the white, so the white can't run and make that block. But unfortunately, 2 red dice is not optimal, especially into a player with both. Well, it's just dodge that's relevant in that situation, but still.
Yeah, so O1 made a great point in the chat, which is that it's a missed opportunity for Conadura here, who probably doesn't know about this mechanic, which is that you can manually throw the ball. So Hakon Quickfoot could have the ball.
I just lob it down the pitch so they can't score. I mean, that is definitely an option. I don't know if it's a good option because it does also basically null any chance you had of scoring.
Well, I mean, as we saw here, it was pretty.
Yeah, this is the alternative. Now, to be fair though, he's still a Skaven. He can still make that dodge.
Oh no, absolutely! I fully expect Hakon to be able to get out of there. I think they'd be pretty unlucky, honestly, if they didn't get out at this point. I mean, you could even conceivably lightning bolt Yabba just to make your escape a bit easier.
You don't blitz. He has dodge, and that's 2 red dice. You rely on your own agility at that point.
Oh,
nice animation.
Oh wait, that's okay. I thought it was something more important.
No, that's all the way at the pitch.
Okay, it was a ghoul hitting a Gutter Runner, so I was understandably thought it was more significant than it was. Oh, hello. Goodbye, John Cena. All right,
John Cena is knocked out.
Let's get on with the important part. Okay, well, there you go. That's how well it went.
I'm guessing the dodge failed. That's the only conceivable option I can think of.
Let's see. So what's the name of the player?
Hakon Quickfoot. Yeah, it looked like he failed to dodge in that big wall of text somewhere.
Dodge failed. Dodge succeeded. Wait, am I looking at the wrong part here? I don't know what happened, but the important
He's on the
part
floor.
is... Yep. He died.
I mean, he's very much alive, but unfortunately his chances of scoring aren't, because Gase has got the ball, it's Yabadoo, and he's going to Yabba run away with... I don't know where I was going with that.
I mean, this is pretty terrible for the Skaven team. Their ability to get that ball back is essentially zero at this point, but I suppose... Ooh, clonked.
And another one's KO'd.
This is actually not too bad. Oh wait, no, you just lightning bolt him.
No, you don't, apparently. You
Oh, okay.
blitz him, take 2 red dice, get double
What?
POW, so it works out in your favour.
He's
And you
also
have
got
strip ball, so I guess you've got the ball back.
I mean, that's not actually ideal, because now the... Well, I mean, it could be worse. But you're in
You
a position-
can't get the ball
can't
onto
pass
someone
the ball
useful,
away.
yeah. No, that's the situation where you throw the ball down pitch, so one of your players can wake up and go pick it up themselves.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
it?
I mean,
Wait, I don't know the rules. Is it a turnover? You throw the ball to empty space.
Yes.
Then you don't do that, because then you just have the ball in empty space and no one can pick it up.
Well, I mean,
At least
so
this way
we're gonna
you
see,
have control of the ball.
We're going to see one hit here, which will... I think... Let's see. So we've got... Who's this? This is a white. So if we have a push away here, a hit here, and not a no follow-up, then we can see... Oh, no. Okay. That's not going to happen.
We're just bullying Skaven at this point. They're all surrounded.
Oh, hello. Goodbye.
Iron Tail 2 is gone. He is MNGing, so he is dead. He
Dead.
is... Yeah.
Okay.
So
You've got to... This is when you've got to start role-playing as a Skaven.
Ah!
Say-
Oh
wait,
all my
oh,
friends are
no.
dying! Please help me! Ah! Also, the pool got crowd surfed.
I meant more that you got to throw the fireball into the middle of the scrum with your own players.
I was actually role playing as a Skaven.
Oh, there they go. Okay, so the important part being is that the Skaven have failed to score. The undead have also failed to score. I mean, we might get a bit more clobbering.
Can we fast forward a bit? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna
most of the
fast
players
forward.
woke up, but they're still missing most of the
Oh, man,
team.
we need to get done with the game. So,
Super fast forward mode.
all right, punch, 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 punch.
They're getting boxed in. The boxing has failed. The Skaven are getting rushed in, but they have to do
Punch,
Scrappy
punch,
Doo,
punch.
who's level 4. They send the players back to protect him.
Ooh.
The punching is
Go
still
for us.
continuing. Skaven managed to get on top of the ball. Keep going. Ball's
Oh,
got
yeah, the
loose.
ball.
Skaven have got
Oh.
control of the ball. They
Oh.
haven't got control of the ball.
Oh.
Or do they? In scoring range. Skaven score, managed
he
to set the
scores.
ball for the second half, and the Mr. Ink only have 4 turns left to score, but they are receiving.
This is the best game we've ever fast-forwarded.
This is another game move fast forward. Thank you very much. They'll set up for defense again. They still have the man adventure on the pitch. Can they maintain control of the field this time? Keep going with the fast forwards.
Bup, bup, bup.
The Skaven have flooded the pitch again. This time
got
they
on
haven't
the
managed to get
ball.
control
Oh,
of
no,
the
he's got the
ball.
ball.
Scrappy Doo is loose. Keep going.
I think... Okay, it's 1-1. We're going to extra time.
Pray for the best that we are fast forwarding this game then.
All right, get on with it.
Most of the players wake up. It's now really sunny.
Okay, what's that again? -1 passing. Okay, who's
Skaven-
receiving here?
Oh,
it's...
Scrappy
yes.
Doo has the ball again.
A lot of these games are going to be decided on who receives. So, alright, so blah, 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 whack, whack. Send
They
the
get
ball at
punched in the
pitch.
face because they don't have the front line. They bring the ball up. They're trying to contest it as best they can, but they are Skaven. They are losing. The 3 players are injured. They are able to shut the field for a decent amount to the point where they can't bring the ball forward safely, but they eventually manage to break through, and it will eventually... Now they get the ball
Alright.
knocked out of the hands. I just picked that up, honestly. He's running back and forth. He doesn't know what to do with himself.
It's indecisive.
He gets tripped up. Oh, so that's someone else who gets tripped up. They give the turnover. They should be able to get control of the ball and score the touchdown.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way which Mr. Ink don't win this one at this point.
Slap. Is there
Slap,
another slap
tickle.
that can happen? Oh no, he's just getting him off the dodge roll. I would
I think the reason
maybe...
the fast forward's not working is because this must be the end of the game.
Yeah. So at this point, what you do is you blitz with... that's a pretty good player to blitz with, one with Blodge. Just knock this Skaven away.
You hate to
Get-
see it.
get a KO as well, why not? And then from there, oh look, it's Scrappy Doo with a plus agility, gonna pick up the ball, gonna score the touchdown, gonna win the game for Mystery Inc. in the fastest game of Blood Bowl ever played. You cannot convince me otherwise.
Alright guys, so that means we've got ourselves our grand finalists. Mystery Inc. gonna be joining up the West Street War in the Sun. We will be back in just a few short minutes time with the actual grand final itself. Hope you enjoyed this speed chess variant of Blood Bowl, and we're gonna stop the stream now just so we can kind of get a few more people in for the actual finals. So we'll see you guys then. Go grab yourselves a drink or your beverage of choice, perhaps pet a family member, or feed them some biscuits, whatever it is that people do with families. And we'll see you